Today I want to share with you about the homemade organic fertilizers we use here in our gardens at Suansock Homestay. And so I hope that these organic gardening tips will give you some good information about how to make your own organic fertilizers at home. There's nothing quite like DIY organic fertilizer. So let's get into it. This one here is probably our favorite, and one that I've already made quite a number of videos about. It is photosynthetic bacteria plant food. It's a recipe that you can easily make and continue to sustain to provide really good nutrients for your plants for a long time. One of the key things with this organic fertilizer is that it helps to improve the efficiency with which plants photosynthesize. So it helps the plants to really make the most of their nutrient extraction process and providing those nutrients as good food for the plants. And it does this by optimizing light absorption and chlorophyll production. And it's also a great nitrogen fixer. So this is the first of 7 different organic fertilizers that I'll talk about today. And keep watching, because I will tell you that there are a number of things that most, if not all, of these fertilizers, these natural organic fertilizers that we make ourselves, they all have common benefits as well as specific benefits that I'm mentioning. So next on our list is a concoction in here that is made with comfrey and tomato plants. So my old tomato plants that have finished fruiting, I'll cut them up, I'll pop them in here. I've also this year added a bunch of comfrey leaves, chopped all of those up and added it to this barrel that I've then filled with water. And I'll leave it. I can't use it straight away. Best to leave it for at least 2 months for it to really seep and produce a really good comfrey and tomato tea. And this is particularly good for giving your plants potassium and nitrogen, and it's very fast acting. So it makes these nutrients readily available for whatever plants that you're feeding them to. And it also helps to promote disease resistance. It helps strengthen your plant's immunity. The next one on our list is, in here I have got a little pot of water, and every time I eat a banana, the skin goes into my banana skin tea. And this is a great source of providing potassium and calcium and magnesium for your plants, and phosphorus as well. So it really is a great homemade natural organic fertilizer that's very balanced. And if your plants are in need of calcium, eggshells is a great way to do it. I don't put our eggshells directly in the compost. I crush them up and put them in a bucket. And then to the bucket, I add vinegar. Then I put a plastic bag over it to stop the evaporation and just leave it sitting. When you put the eggshells in the vinegar, it's going to start fizzing and bubbling, and over time this will settle down and stop, and it will neutralize the vinegar and make the calcium in the eggshells readily available when you apply this to your plants. Now you've got to be careful, you can't add it directly to your plants. As with most of these things, or all of them actually, you've got to dilute them first. And I'm not a big one on measuring things when I'm in the garden. I'll usually put a bit of a slosh in the watering can and go from there, top it up with water, and the results are usually fine. It's just really important not to put any of these directly on your plants without diluting them first, with the exception of one of them that I'll talk about in a minute. One other really good advantage of using eggshells in this way is that it will help bring your pH down if it's a little bit alkaline, which our soil here is quite alkaline, so it'll help just balance it and put a little bit of acidity back into the soil. And this DIY organic fertilizer will also enhance root development in the plants that you apply it to. So the 5th DIY natural organic fertilizer we use in our garden is guano, or bat manure. This comes from a friend of ours, John, up at Cave Lodge, who has connections with the local community who go into the caves and harvest this, and it is a fabulously well balanced NPK fertilizer for your garden that's completely organic. You've got to be careful with it. Whenever I'm working with it, I've got a mask on, I've got gloves on. You don't want to be breathing this stuff in, or you don't want it to be getting into any cuts on your skin because it's pretty strong. And it's always diluted. I'll add a couple of cups to this container, fill it with water and leave it for a few weeks, and then I'll just add a splash to my watering can and top it up with water, and it is fabulous for your plants. It's very fast acting, and it also acts as a repellent to some soil-borne pests. So if you can get it, make good use of it. And another one that I've got it soaking in the watering can already. I'll just put a couple of handfuls of worm castings in my watering can, leave it soaking for a little while. It doesn't need to soak for too long, and then top it off and water the plants with it. And again, this is another great well-balanced NPK natural organic fertilizer that also helps to really help build the nutrients in the soil and promotes root growth and strength. And again, it's another one that is very fast acting. It's readily available nutrients that the plants can take up very quickly and very easily. And then the last one is not one so much that we do ourselves or do anything to, it's just your simple good old blood and bone. And I'll just take a handful of this and scatter it around the base of the plants and then water it in, oftentimes with some photosynthetic bacteria or one of the other types of DIY natural organic plant foods that we produce here at Suansock Homestay. So the blood and bone is really strong in nitrogen and phosphorus, and it's a slow release. Unlike most of the other ones which are quick release, this one releases more slowly, so you can just leave it and water it in over time and know that it's going to be providing goodness to your plants over a longer period of time. And it's a really good one for boosting flowering and fruiting. So if you've got fruit trees or things like tomatoes, just as they're beginning to flower, add some of this and it will really boost the flowering and fruiting of these plants. There's a link in the description below to a page on our website where I outline more details about each of these 7 homemade organic fertilizers. So please do check that out. And so earlier I mentioned that there's commonalities amongst all of these things. All of them will help to enhance soil fertility and structure. And as you know, a big part of organic gardening is really paying attention and nurturing your soil structure and fertility. All of these DIY natural organic fertilizers will do this. They're also promoting microbial growth in the soil, so it's really boosting the microbial activity. Some of them more than others, but they're all enhancing the microbial activity in your soil, which has got to be good for your plants. And they all strengthen your plant's immunity because they're feeding your plant, because they're strengthening right from the roots to the very tips of the growing leaves. You're improving the strength and the fertility, so really boosting your pest and disease resistance by just creating naturally strong, healthy plants. And of course, really goes without saying that all of them, because they are natural and organic fertilizers, they are eco-friendly. So you're not putting anything into the ground that is going to be damaging the soil. So I'd encourage you to use some or all of these different organic natural fertilizers in your garden. And for more information on how to make your own natural organic fertilizers, particularly the photosynthetic bacteria plant food, we've got other videos online. And if you'd like to know more detail, drop us a note in the comment below if you'd like me to go into more detail and make more videos about each or any of these natural organic fertilizers that we use here. Sure, some of them are going to be more accessible, so using banana peels as organic natural fertilizer is going to be much easier than using bat manure for some people. Easier to buy a banana than get a cup full of bat manure, for sure. But things like the eggshells and vinegar, that's going to be pretty accessible if you're saving your eggshells. Sure, there's a bit of technique to it, takes a little bit of time, but it's well worth it to make eggshell and vinegar fertilizer because it really makes that calcium in the eggshells immediately accessible to the plants that you're providing it to. If you're just putting eggshells around the base of your plant, it can take years for the calcium to be released. So the vinegar actually speeds up that whole process. And sure, making comfrey tea for plants and even adding some of your tomatoes in there, it's going to be another really easy natural organic fertilizer that you can make. So I hope this has been useful to you. As I said, if you'd like more information, drop us a note in the comments below. And if you'd like to learn more about our photosynthetic bacteria plant food that we've got quite a few videos on, check out this playlist here. Thanks very much for watching.